there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today we're going to be doing a color analysis at home. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I saw this video over on Kackie's channel and I was like, great, because everybody's been asking me what color season do I think I am. And since I feel there are a couple of caveats when it comes to color analysis, I don't want to shell out the money to get it done professionally, but I thought that this would be a fun way that we can still figure it out together. So let's just get to it. I will explain to you in a little bit what I mean. So I'm coming to you from my bedroom where I felt I would have the most neutral background. I could wear a white t-shirt and sort of sit in front of a window while still being able to look in the mirror myself to see what I think, because in the viewfinder things always look a little bit differently, I find. So as I mentioned, I saw this concept over on Kackie's channel and she got it from another creator. So I'll make sure to link their videos down below so that if you want to see the full method and get the explanation that you can. But pretty much what it is to do your at-home color analysis with paint swatches. So that's what we're doing today. So the way this color analysis works is that there's three parts to it. First, you determine your undertone, then you determine your intensity level, and then you get to the color season. So I have paint swatches here to be able to do all of those steps. I tried to match my paint swatches that I picked up from the hardware store to the colors that were used in the original creator's video. Yeah, that way I'm just going to run you through it and we're going to determine it together. I do have an idea of where I might be, but here's the reason why I feel that color analysis as a system for determining what looks right on you has its flaws. It's definitely not perfect. And this is something that Kackie mentioned in her video as well, is that I have always really gone into doing my makeup, for instance, in terms of like using color theory. So in color theory, you have shades that are complementary to each other or that are opposites, and they can still work really well. So for instance, if you have blue eyes, you can wear orange eyeshadow to make them pop, or if you have green eyes, you can wear purple eyeshadow to make it pop. Why? Because those colors are opposite on the color spectrum, and color theory is a system that's been used by artists, painters, makeup artists across the globe for centuries. Color analysis and the different seasons that these different color families are split into sort of goes against what color theory has to offer. And I am someone who just wears what they want and what makes me feel good rather than what is flattering according to a completely arbitrary set of rules. The way I view color analysis is that it's just a tool for maybe people who are very insecure about what they're wearing or who don't know where to start, where it can be a helpful tool for them to get started. But for someone who's like me, who's existed in this world and who's tried a lot of different styles and colors on themselves, be it makeup, be it clothing, be it hair colors, like I've set myself through these spaces already trying to figure out what makes me happiest. And so for me, I don't really feel it has any added value. I think it can have merit for some. However, the way I've seen it being used on social media has given me a little bit of an ick, because it seems to be like the narrative I see a lot of people use when it comes to color analysis is that, oh, now I need to declutter everything that was this and I'm going to buy an entire new wardrobe. I feel that that is like the overconsumption, the capitalistic ideas that are behind it a little bit, and I definitely feel it is a tool that can also be used to make people feel insecure about things they don't need to feel insecure about. So that's why I don't want to do it professionally. I don't want to spend hundreds of euros on something that I don't believe in. I'm still, even if the color season that comes out of this is the complete opposite of the things I like to wear, I'm still going to continue wearing what I like to wear and use color theory rather than color analysis, you could say. A creator who I feel is really good at doing this is Trini from the Trini London channel. She not only has her own makeup line, but she was part of Trini and Susanna, who had this TV series on what not to wear and like looking your best. And she's always talking about if your hair color is like cooler or warmer, like if you change your hair color, maybe some shades will look better on you, or maybe if you're wearing a shade on top that's not the best, adding a different lip color can again balance things out. So I think we can get away with a lot more things than we actually think we do. And if color analysis has been very helpful for you, then by all means keep using it. But I'm just doing this for a bit of fun and to figure it out. My preference, I will let you know at the start of the video, is between autumn and winter. I actually think I'm sort of like in between the two, going by the shades that I like the best on myself. Some of the bright reds I love wearing are more in the winter palette, whereas some of the neutrals I like to wear are more so in the autumn palette. So the bright things I like to wear are in a different season than the neutrals that I like to wear. So before we start determining my undertone, I always start a lot of my videos saying how I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone. And the reason why I say that is from makeup theory, there are already a couple of sets of rules that can help you determine the undertone of your skin. And that's something you cannot change. So there's a couple of things that I know for sure. My veins are very blue to the point where they're almost purple. I also burn easily, but I don't really get a tan. I spend 10 days outside in sunny weather, and this is all the tan I've gotten. Like, this is the most tan I've been in years. I don't tan. I really don't. I stay looking pasty pale, and I also feel that when it comes to undertone, or determining what looks good on you, your hair and your eye color goes into that as well. So that's why I like this method, because I've seen color analysis where they keep people's hair covered for the entire thing to determine in colors. But I definitely feel that your hair is a really big part of what you can wear. And I definitely feel like wearing other things, whether my hair is down or up, for instance. So if my hair is down, I think other things are looking good. Also, by the way, if you've seen any recent videos of mine and you're like, Micah, wasn't your hair darker? No, I didn't get it done. I didn't color my hair. I haven't colored my hair in 2 years. And the last time it was cut, they cut out all of the highlights that were still in there. This is what happens to my hair every year in the summer. It lightens. In the winter, my hair grows out, there's less sunshine, and I'm a natural dark blonde. But then summer hits, and especially when I was a little girl and I went like swimming all the time, the chlorine in the water would bleach my hair naturally. So just from being outside in the sun, I get all of these light bits. Like, look at this bit here. Like, my hair just naturally lightens. I get natural highlights from being outside in the sunshine. So this is more like closer to my actual hair color, I feel. Not wearing any makeup and wearing a basic white t-shirt so that we can hopefully get the best of the best idea of what things might look like on me. So this is going to look very funny because I need to cover my hair for the first step to determine my skin's undertone. And I think I could already tell what undertone I actually am just looking at my skin. But here's the first test. I've got two paint swatches here. I've got a bright white, which is very close actually to the t-shirt I'm wearing, and I've got a warm white. Bright white, warm white. The bright white does the cooler undertone, and the warm white, which actually matches the wall behind me. All of the walls in my house are a warm white, and I definitely think this looks better on me. I never wear creams. I never wear, like, I hardly ever wear like yellow undertoned creams on myself because I feel it doesn't work. So my vote goes for, yeah, definitely this one. Vote number 1 for the cool tones. But then I also have the difference between a warmer red and like this softer pink. And this is where my confusion with color analysis already comes in, because shades like this just never look right on me. They wash me out too much, but I think it does bring out the undertone in my skin the most. This makes my face look a lot more red. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. Maybe you see something differently on your screen, but I feel this makes my cheeks look more red. I naturally have quite a lot of redness in my face, and this just makes me look a little bit brighter almost. So again, I think the vote needs to go for the cooler pink. And then another test we have is these purpley tones. We have this warm sort of eggplant kind of color. This actually looks okay. It kind of neutralizes things. And then this is the more gray toned one. I can't really choose. On my chin. What do we think? This one I find the most difficult. Ooh. This brightens my face, I think. And then more so to do with undertone is metals. So I found wallpaper swatches. This is a gold metallic and this is a gray with a silver metallic. I tend to wear silver jewelry. That's another way you can historically tell whether you have cool or warm undertones, is which metal looks better on you. On me, gold has never looked right. I dislike gold eyeshadow with a passion for that reason. I've never worn gold jewelry in my life. I've tried it here and there, but I just always feel this makes me look sallow. It just doesn't look really right. Whereas this brightens my face, makes me look more alive. So I think the fact that I'm wearing a lot of silver is actually correct. And then here it was a little bit difficult to tell what color the person had selected. I think it was supposed to be like a really dark brown, but I went with this black, which is cooler actually than this warm navy shade. But I think I can pull both of these off actually. I don't look good in black. It washes me out too much because it's too much contrast. I already know that. So yeah, here I would go for the slightly warmer tone, but I think the undertone test is pretty conclusive that I do have a cool undertone in my skin. But watch what happens when I don't cover my hair. And this is warm. It's like 100 degrees outside when I'm doing this. So if I, especially when I wear my hair in my face like this, I naturally have brown eyes. I've got nothing is in my brows, so these are my natural brows. They're not super light. So for being a blonde, I do have quite a lot of contrast in my features, and my hair is what makes me look a little bit more warm toned. The fact that I have a green background and also right outside my window is a very big green tree. So for people who thought I might be olive, I'm not olive. I just have a lot of green in my house and in my surroundings that affect the look of my videos, I feel. But yeah, I'm definitely a cool undertone. But now that the hair is out, we go into the intensity test. So the intensity test is to see what sort of level of brightness and contrast you can handle. And I think that that's another aspect that I don't always see people do when it comes to color analysis. I don't always see everyone going into like what level of brightness you can handle. I know pretty sure that I'm not going to be a summer because those shades are going to be too pale for me. I look dead in pastels. I just do. I still wear them because I like a couple of them. Like I love lilacs and I love mint greens, but I've got two options here. This is the brighter, more vibrant option, and then this is the more muted option. So this would be, I think the, let me see. So yeah, this is for the warm undertone, which I'm not, but I thought it could be fun. So here, because it's a warmer color, I actually feel like going this way, because with my hair, this works. Like this, my features, my face looks more alive. If I look a little sweaty, I just did my skincare routine, and as I mentioned, it is like 100 degrees, like 30-degree weather. That's what we're having in Celsius. This is just, it doesn't bring my features to the forefront. You see this color before you see me, so that's why I would go for this murky shade. For the cool colors, they recommended using like a brighter teal. This is like the brightest thing I could find that was also like close to the depth. And then like a brighter green shade. And here I think it's going to be very difficult. Ooh. This to me is just a bit painful. But it does brighten my skin. It makes my skin look brighter, but this is just too harsh, I find. It's too harsh. This, I feel, sort of blends everything together. I feel it makes my cheeks look less red. Like this, I feel you can see the redness in my cheeks a little bit more. And with this, I kind of feel the whole thing comes together. So that would mean that I am higher contrast, which is rare for people with light skin and lighter hair. Apparently, Deep Winter, for instance, is a color palette that is appropriate for people with pale skin and dark hair. But this would put me in like one of the high contrast seasons, like sub-seasons. Which, like this? No, just no. Maybe you feel completely differently. I also feel that whenever I've seen people do these and I look at the comments, that the comment section is absolutely wild, but that's the way I feel. So I'm veering towards the higher contrast here. Now, because I already kind of had an inkling of which of the, like 2 of the 4 color seasons that I might be, I didn't pick up all of the shade swatches for all of the sub-seasons for the spring and the summer palette. I did do it for autumn and winter so we can really have a look and dig deeper. But for the spring palette, I did pick up the major swatches that go with that. So these are the swatches of the spring palette. Now, my hardware store didn't have super bright shades. Everything was a little bit muted, but I think putting all of these shades together, like some of these shades I like. Some of these shades I know I like, but most of these, like I believe spring is warm and autumn is warm and summer is cool and winter are cool. But yeah, this is not it. It just isn't. So if I run you quickly through all of these colors, like this is a color I do wear. Especially in the summertime when my skin has a little bit more color, I like to wear these really bright cobalt blues. I do like a bright cobalt blue from time to time. But a green like this, it's almost painful. Like when I look at this, I kind of disappear, I feel. So bright greens like this, again, I do like a bright green from time to time, especially when the weather is really bright and fun. But I tend to wear it as accent color, so it will be like a blouse over a white tank top or something. Like I would always wear it with something else, you could say. But a color like this against my brown eyes is really pretty. So green eyeshadow, bright green eyeshadow, is one of my favorites. So that's why I feel going by color theory and trying to balance all of those colors in your features, to me, just makes a lot more sense than color analysis, because you could wear any of these colors depending on where you put them. Like, I don't love yellow on me. Especially this warm yellow, not my shade. I can wear it as pants. Just don't put it up against your face. You can still wear it if that color makes you happy. A color that I also like the look of is this like muted pinky tone. It's like a raspberry kind of shade. I do like that. Like this is the kind of color I would wear on my lips or as blush quite a bit. And then we also have this like brighter tone. This I find is a little too in-betweeny for it to work on me. So a no to that. This confirms to me why I like bright blue, but it has to be like part of a print. So I think it can work, but this like bright sky blue sort of color all by itself and nothing else isn't exactly the best shade for me. And then we have this warmer orangey toned red. I sometimes wear this on my lips, especially again in the spring summer season. I like going for an orange toned red, but this is just not really good for me. And finally we have this purple, which again, purples like this, I have a couple of items in my wardrobe. I've got a sweater in this shade, I've got a dress in this shade, I think like a couple of tops. So I can wear it, but I have to balance out the look, I feel. So the spring palette, I think I'm pretty solid on, like there's only one shade here that I feel I can pull off. So I definitely think it was a good call that the spring palette was not my vibe. And next up we have the summer palette. These are all the shade swatches that I picked up for the summer palette. And I don't know about you, but again, there are shades in here that I think can look right for me, but not all of it. I think the biggest offender for me is this very light bluish gray. This doesn't do anything for me. Like, again, I do wear gray in tops sometimes, but again, they're always layering pieces for underneath cardigans and blazers and sort of like to complete the look. Like, I like gray as a neutral sometimes, but not all the time. I do like the look of this purple for me. But again, I think it's just too light. It's not saturated enough to go with my coloring, I feel. Seeing that I am slightly more high contrast rather than low contrast, a lot of these shades are probably going to wash me out, especially if I wear my hair down. Let me do a bit of a a bit of a test here. If I pull all of my hair out of my face, this works a lot better. Do you see that? Because I do have that cooler undertone. So the shades can work on me in theory, but it really, really depends on whether I wear my hair down or up. I think a similar thing goes for this brighter purple. So this already works better on me because it is a deeper shade. Then we have this. See, I like teal, but if it's deeper. This is a teal that is too bright for me, and it doesn't work. I don't love turquoise on myself. Then we have, again, like this like plummy kind of thing. See, this again works. You could take shades from other color seasons, I think, if they work for you. But again, altogether, these shades just aren't really my vibe. And then we just have some blues left, this very light blue. That bright cobalt blue is also in this palette, I feel, so that can work. And then finally, no. There's a reason why I have decluttered some of my like jeans, like a jeans blouse I had, and also like a baby blue corduroy blouse, because this kind of like jeans kind of blue color on the bottom as a pair of jeans, great paired with other things that are darker to contrast it. But on top, I like a really nice dark saturated jean color, and that works for me a lot better. So moving on to the autumn palette, and I can already tell this is far too warm toned in some spots, but there are shades in this color story that I really, really enjoy as well. So my prediction for now is that I'm probably not an autumn, like a true autumn, but that I may actually be one of the winter seasons that is adjacent to autumn. That's my prediction so far. So first up, we have this orange tone. We've already determined orange is just not my shade. I rarely wear orange. I do like pairing orange tones, especially if it's like part of a print. And I do like wearing some orange tone blushes or lipsticks to like highlight things, to accentuate things. I like it in that sense, but I would never wear it as a main color. This is one of my favorite shades. Can you tell what happens to my face when I hold this up? This is so good. So this is actually a really deep navy, and I think this is one of the best shades for me from the autumn palette. There's also this red. Now, we all know I love a really good, nice, bright red. I really do. And I think this still looks really good for me, but this is also in the winter palette, so I don't think I need it here. We have this warm green again. It's supposed to be darker, but I couldn't find it. So a more like foresty green, they didn't really have that much. But this could work better as an autumn color, I think. So maybe put that in there. Then we have this warm yellow. Nope. But now we get to some interesting ones. I like this purple on me a lot. This purple, very nice. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, it keeps that middle ground. We all know how much I like taupe. Do you see what happens to my face? Like, let's do this. Yellow. Ooh. Taupe. And everything blends together. I love that for me. See, I already knew what I liked wearing. Teal. See, this is so much better for me. Where's the brighter one? This is the one from the summer palette. Here's the one from the autumn palette. And it's supposed to be, again, a touch deeper. Maybe more like this. The darker, more muted these colors are, the better they look on me. And then we have this dark brown. Brown is a difficult color for me to pull off. Again, something like orange that I like to wear together. I like wearing brown with orange and yellow. Like if these three shades, like I have some like blazers and things that have these three shades in, and when it's blended, it works really well because when it's blended, it's sort of like the color of my hair. That's what I'm sort of looking for. But of these three, the brown is definitely best. So determine which autumn palette might be best for me. I did pick up these swatches. So this is the autumn warm palette, which has the orange and the yellow in. That's not gonna happen. So I'm definitely not a warm autumn. This is the soft autumn palette. Hold on. This is soft autumn. I'm not a soft autumn. Again, the yellow really throws it off for me, combined with the red. The deep autumn palette. So if there is anything that I'm going to be in the autumn palette, it's going to be deep autumn, I think. So deep autumn also has like some taupes and stuff in. I remember from like seeing the full spectrum online. So deep autumn, these shades all work for me. And here do we have the winter palette. And I think it's safe to say that there are going to be more shades here that are going to look nice on me. I do think that these like brighter shades, I definitely think that we can rule out bright winter for me because that's way too light. So let's go through these sub-seasons. So this is bright winter. Oh no. These are not good for me. This is if you're low contrast and you're a winter, I think this can be nice, but for me, no. So this really pale yellow, that color disappears against my skin. It makes me look more red. So that's a big no. We have that bright teal turquoise kind of shade again. We've already determined that that is not my shade. This purple I can potentially get down with. I do like the look of that. So that can be nice. And then we have this brighter blue. Nope. So here's the difference between deep winter and cool winter, yes. And cool winter doesn't have that saturated plum. So it has this like more raspberry plum sort of shade instead, which I don't love. The teal I like, and I think actually these three shades from what I was able to pick up paint swatch wise are all the same. So it's the bright blue and like the deeper navy, and then this is the deep winter. So there's a reason why I love navy so much on me. Navy smoky eye, it just works. Navy blouse, navy trousers. I wear so much navy for a reason, and I greatly dislike black. Then we have the brighter, like the darker teal shade. There's a reason why I love teal. That really nice, like this should be a darker purple, but I couldn't find it without it being too brown. So this even a little bit darker works. And the bright blue that I already said I loved in the spring palette. So when I look at things, I think I may be a deep winter mostly with a little bit of deep autumn. And this would actually work because the deep winter and the deep autumn color families are actually lumped together. So if you put them in a little wheel, I'll post it here. I screenshotted this from the original creator's video, so all credit goes to her. But then you see all of the different color seasons. So you have light summer, soft summer, cool winter, bright winter, deep autumn, soft autumn, warm spring, bright spring, and light spring. And the way it works is if two of them are touching next to each other. So if you're a light spring, you can also borrow from light summer and vice versa. But for instance, if you're a soft autumn, you can also go the opposite on the color wheel and like borrow some shades from the soft summer palette. That's what I've heard. But I think for me, it's deep winter and deep autumn. So those are next together on this color wheel, and I wanted to do a little test to see if I'm right. So I always enjoy wearing navy for myself. This is navy. You can't really tell. It looks a bit black with this, like this way you can tell. It makes like my features stand out, my hair stand out. You can see my eyes. My skin looks pretty clear. But in the winter palette, you also get a black. And I don't love black, but this navy is from the autumn palette in this case. So the black kind of, I feel you can see the color before you can see me. So that's why I wear a lot of navy. I wear navy blouses, navy trousers. I wear a lot of navy eyeshadow. Like, navy is my shade for sure over a black. But we can also do that with the neutrals. I think I did. So this was the light gray from the summer palette that I had picked. And I always say that I love cool tones, but I don't love the fact that brands always do grays if they do a cool tone palette. So there's a reason why I love these taupey brown shades. This is quite a gray tone taupe, I feel. So it's got that cool hint of cool running through it. But this taupe shade would be more so for the autumn palette than this gray, which would go more so in the winter palette as well. So this, I mean, this disappears against my features. This makes all my features come together, I feel. So I already told you that I was doubting whether I could be a winter or an autumn, that was my main sort of idea when I sat down to film this video. And I think I determined that indeed I'm probably most likely a deep winter, but I can also borrow from deep autumn. So this is why I think like making sure your hair and everything is factored in is so important when you do a color analysis. I've definitely seen some where they keep people's hair covered for the entire session, it seems, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I definitely think we can do a lot more with color analysis than what you might want. Wear what you like. I think I also showed you that there are definitely shades in the color seasons that aren't my best season that I can still pull off. So I definitely think that, yeah, I have definitely figured out a little bit better what my color season is. So I just think winter is definitely my color palette. And if I can then borrow some from autumn, then I think most of what I wear on the daily is very on point. But I also borrow from plenty of other seasons. So I really hope you enjoyed sitting down with me today and doing a color analysis together. It is a little bit of a DIY version, so I hope you didn't mind. I really enjoyed doing this with you all. Let me know what your color season is if you know in a comment down below. And then I hope to see you again in my next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.